Hello, everyone. Welcome to FEITIAN US Technical Webinar. I am Louise Hauser, part of Program Management and Partnerships from FEITIAN Technologies US. And here with me today is FEITIAN US Head of Technical Solutions Sales, Enrique Tang. I want to share a few housekeeping rules for this event. You can type in your questions in the questions tab box in the Zoom webinar window, and we will entertain them when we have time later after the demonstration. We would like everyone to stay engaged in the next 30 minutes or so during the webinar, so you can type in your comments and feedback as we move along. For better viewing experience, you can also adjust your view settings by moving the middle line on the Zoom application screen. And also, please watch out for some announcements at the end of this event. So before we officially begin, I would like to share a short bio of our speaker. Enrique Tang is a patent technologist who recently joined FEITIAN as a head of technical solution sales. He came from Google with 14 years of experience in IT systems, solutions engineering, and program management. So in this technical webinar, we would provide you some insights about current cybersecurity news, together with FEITIAN's innovative biometric FIDO security keys, which are FIPS 140-2 Level 2 certified by NIST, and setting up and using FIDO securities with identity providers and applications such as Google, Microsoft, Azure AD, AWS, GitHub, Twitter, and more. So let's begin. Enrique, please take it away.
Thank you, Louis. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. I appreciate your spending time, and I'll try my best to make it worth it for you. First, I'd like to do a quick introduction about our company, FEITIAN Technologies. We actually been around for more than 20 years, and FEITIAN Technology has been a global leading provider for cybersecurity products, with offices ranging from US, Asia, and Europe. We have more than 1,000 employees, and more than half of that is in R&D, and more than 1,600 of patents. Our company prides ourselves being for our core strength in the innovations and flexible manufacturing capabilities. FEITIAN has partnered with a lot of different businesses, from big tech, financial institutions, education, and government agencies. So the reason why we've been around for a very long time, which also means that wherever you are, your organization are in the authentication needs we have. Right? We started with the PKI copyright protection softwares to OTP and solutions and FIDO security keys. We also have products in smart cards and smart mobile readers, as well as mobile apps. So next up, let's dive into MFA and FIDO keys, right? Like why MFA and why FIDO security? I think the more apt question for that now is why not, right? Like with so many recent hacks and ransomware attacks, things like SolarWinds and T-Mobile recently leaked more than 50 million of their user data. I think the question is now why not, right? Like it's really, there's so many private information that's already leaked out there, and it's really the time is now to take the step to protect your data security. And even more on that, right? Like latest executive order 1402A, President Biden actually issued that in May to kind of drive the improvements of national cybersecurity, and also followed by a tech summit in August, meeting with top leaders from Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple, right? Coming down with a list of action items. And at the bottom of it, it's really just to improve our national cybersecurity, drive the adoptions, and to improve the zero trust infrastructure. And on the very foundation level of that is the MFA, being the very first step to secure the overall infrastructure by securing the authentication layer. So the other point I want to add to that is MFA has come a long way. Right? Like it actually started back in 2004 with HSPD 12, signed by President George W. Bush to kind of drive the implementation of the MFA. And that's when the military came up with Common Access Card, CAC, and then also followed by PIF, which is the Personal Identity Verification Card. These are smart card solutions that to this day continue to be used by military and federal agencies. For consumers and business space, the next thing that happens is in 2013 and 2014, where I think this Intel and PayPal and a couple of companies started with the ideas of FIDO. And then FIDO was born with as a U2F, like second factor off with CPAP1, and later on now perfected by FIDO2, which is also known as web auth end, right? So these are the reason why the MFA is so modernized and sophisticated now is that it's really driven heavily by FIDOs and the large player that joined the alliance, right? So things like tamper-proof hardware crypto based on the PKI, these security chips that spoof-proof and binds the signature into distinct key pairs, and then modernized authentication infrastructure. So there's no shared secret. Like with these kind of tiny little security key, you can store a lot of very different identity, no matter it's on your company account, your consumer account, Twitter, you can store many accounts on it, and there's no spillover of secrets and crypto. Right, so that's pretty amazing. And then these the standards applied by so many platforms and major player now. The experience is very consistent, and there's no drivers or middleware required to be installed. So there's one less attack vector for the security wise. So all in all, I want to make the point across is that modern development has made the security key as MFA easy to use and also easy to set up. So really, there's nothing, no reason, no more excuses to wait, and so now is the time to take the action for that. So next, I'm going to get into our biometric solutions, right? So this is our very proud product, right? We have this product actually for more than 2 years now, and this is best in class security certified by NIST, as Louis mentioned earlier, with the FIPS 140-2 level 2 certification for BioPass for this BioPass FIDO2 product on the where you can see on the left on the slide deck here. And on the right, there also are different form factor, which is what I have in my hands here. So this is more like a form factor that's just more like a card. And so on the back, it's potentially you can actually implement this as an employee badge, right? So you can have picture print on the back. And then it also has a little very cool USB-C port if you need a key to be plugged in. But all in all, the key feature is that it has biometrics, and then it also works with NFC and BLE. What's the beauty of our biometric key is really standing on FIDO, right? So all the fingerprints and private information is converted into like array pattern, and it's stored within this highly secure chips inside that certified with EAL6+. That's highly secure. The highest you can go is 7, and that's a different level, right? So 6+ is very high, and then it does not transmit. So the beauty of it is like all the private information stay here. It doesn't get transmitted anywhere during the authentication or any time. It's only used during the authentication to create that kind of verification and signing, establishing your identity. Right. So okay, sorry for the distraction. So that's the cool thing about our biometrics, and also even more with the products that you see on the left here, these USB keys with biometrics. You can also ask. We also have PIV available, so that's good for if you work within the agency, like federal agency space. So next, I'm gonna do a quick demo as to how you can configure a complete passwordless experience to log into Windows 10. So a quick disclaimer is that it depends on your organization setup and environment and whatever MFAs and identity providers that you use. There are various different ways to deploy this and configure this. So today I'm just going to showcase the simplest way to configure this. So and that is through Azure AD as well as Microsoft built-in MDM, which is Intune. So step one would be the upper left-hand corner screenshots here. You want to go into your admin, Azure AD admin to enable the FIDO2 security key, right? So, and then secondly, you want to go into your Intune interface, which I included the URL here. And then you want to enable the use security key for sign in. So this is basically establish a policy to be pushed for any kind of Windows machine that's enrolled into your Azure AD through Intune. So consequently, the next step is to make sure that your Windows 10 machines endpoints are synced to their latest policy, which has the policy to ensure that to require security during sign-in. And then on the user side, now we get into the user. User now need to self-administer this portion. Basically go into the sign-in options and then enroll their security key. So once this is all done, then when upon re-sign in, you'll see something like, sorry, like the screenshot I have here, that you'll see a little security key. It doesn't show as the Windows Hello fingerprint icon, but it shows as a security key here. So so for user to use their biometric security key as to passwordless signing into Windows. So next I'm going to show run a quick demo. Go. My apologies, I'm going to switch over to a different camera. Like that. All right, so over here we have a machine that's set up with the exact steps that I showcased earlier. So it's a Windows machine that's already enrolled with the policy to require the security key login. So during the login, you see that, so let me try a finger that I haven't enrolled, just to make sure that this is not a trick, right? So, but then now, so it doesn't recognize those fingers I did not enroll. Now I get into the finger that did enroll. And just like that, I'm logged into the environment. And what's even the beauty of it is like Microsoft did a fantastic job integrating everything together. So once you logged in like that, when you open a browser, you're already logged in through, it's a true single sign-on experience where you're logged into your Microsoft identity everywhere, including the Edge browser, including the Outlook, and it's all logged in, right? So yeah, so that you or their staff in your organization can start maximizing your productivity without too much hassle with the login options. All right, so let me log that. Let's get back into the next, let's continue our presentation. My apologies. All right, so next we're gonna get into our non-biometric standard FIDO keys. And we have a lot of different form factors here. As you can see, we have things that you get to store inside your machine without unplugging. You have regular form factor USB keys. And then in the center, you see the FIDO keys, FIDO2 keys with NFC. Well, that's very friendly for both your PC as well as your mobile phone. And then lastly, if you need Bluetooth form factors, then we also have those options, as well as what we call the BioPass FIDO, which have both Lightning port as well as USB-C port. That's good for iPhone, at least for another year, 2 years, right? So yeah, so as you can see, there's various form factors we can provide with for different kind of connectivity needs. These are actually very versatile. Do not underestimate the capability of these tiny keys, because they can do a lot, right? So this tiny key I have holding in my hand, it has regular FIDO, U2F, FIDO2, and it also can do OpenPGP. Optionally, it can enable PIV on this. And then it can also handle OAuth, OTP as an OAuth OTP token. And it has OTP config slot 1 and 2, which means that you can actually have two different OTP profiles in that. If your company actually uses OTP as a standard, which there's still a lot of companies does. So next, I'm going to jump into a demo to showcase our how FIDO key works with various identity providers from Microsoft, AWS, Google, Dual, Okta, GitHub, and Twitter. So this is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster ride, so please bear with me. So I am going to share my other screen. go. Just to double check, Louis, my screen share is switching over properly.
Yes,
Okay.
looking good.
Thank you. So over here, our first demo is with Microsoft. So this is, I'm going to plug in my security key so that we don't spend too much time on that. So you can see that if you go into my signins.microsoft.com and go into security info, this is where you will be able to add and delete a security key. I'm gonna, just for the demo purpose, I'm gonna, well, this one is also configured with my mobile apps as a they're multi-factor. I'm gonna do that. In highly sensitive like changes like this, like changing the security key actually prompts you for additional verification. So I'm gonna delete this key. And when you're ready, you just need to add this security key. The beauty of this is like the experience, as you can see, it's fairly consistent across the various providers and IDPs. So in this case, I'm doing USB. So it's really easy just to kind of follow the prompt and now I'm adding, enrolling, verifying my physical presence, and then touching the key so that once that's done, I get to name it. Yep, and that's it. Once it's done, it'll confirm my identity and the key that's enrolled under my account. And when you're logging in, you'll prompt you to touch the key, and that's how FIDO works. The security chip inside will store your private key to verify your presence, and so that's basically the spoofproof portion where it requires your physical contact to verify that. Okay, so let's move on to the AWS. So in AWS, it's very common if you're in DevOps, and this is probably a day-to-day interface. You go into your security credential settings, and where you see over here, this is how you will have the security key configured. So I'm going to venture a little bit today here. I'm feeling adventurous. And remove this key. And then when you're ready, when you want to add the key, you'll just prompt you. So I'm enrolling to U2F. Apparently it's only supported after U2F, not FIDO2. But okay, never mind. Missing that. So it's prompting, I don't know if you're able to see my Windows dialog, but it's prompting me to touch it, and now it's verified. So once that's done, you'll be able to kind of sign out, and when you log back in, it should prompt you. Yeah, there we have a lot of verification to do here. You know if I'm reading that right. I don't love it. I'm feeling I remember my password wrong. So see, the beauty of FIDO2, this is actually a U2F flow. So if this is, for instance, if Amazon AWS actually is updated to FIDO2, it doesn't require so many steps as well as password. So so I'm a little embarrassed, but that's basically a failed attempt. Because I failed to remember my password. Remember, the whole point of this whole FIDO exercise is that to retire password, right? Eventually, so that we can have a more secure mechanism to verify users' identity without the questions of the knowledge base question. So let's move on. We have I was able to log into the AWS, and now let's move into Google. So in Google, it's more standardized. Like no matter you're in Google Business or GCP or your consumer account, Google account, there the settings are all the same. You go into security, go into two-step verification, and this is Google's way of additionally verifying that you are you. Still relying on password, but then that's for sensitive changes. And then you will see the screen to kind of administer your security key. So as you can see, I already enabled my phone as well as additional security key earlier. So if I try, let's just for the sake of it, if I try to follow along and say that I want to add this additional key, but this is actually the same key I enrolled before, it will be able to tell, hey, you'll be able to tell that this is something that you already enrolled. Okay. Right. So it was actually a slightly different error message last time. But yeah, that's the idea. So in Google, once you kind of enroll, this is the location you enroll your security key, FIDO keys. And next, we're going to get into Okta. So Okta is a great partners of ours. So if your company uses Okta product, then you're going to verify, authenticate first. And log into your Okta's user interface to configure FIDO keys. And it's right on the surface. If you see it, look at the lower right-hand side, you show the extra verification. This is where you would be able to set up. So it shows that I already have authenticator set up here. So I can set up another security key. Yep. So I'm gonna stop there. And then next one, we have like Dual. So Dual, it's another of our great partners, and then they provided this great interface to showcase how do you log into Outlook if your company is using Dual to protect your identity. So I'm gonna use a test account that's not having been used yet, and kind of go through the flow. You'll just, as you can see, it's very consistent to all the other type of identity provider. You kind of select the security key and then follow the prompt to contact the key, to touch the key. Okay. Sorry, there's a Windows prompt. But then, as you can see, I just kind of follow the Windows prompts, type in the security key pin numbers, and then touch the key when it's prompted, and that's it. And once you kind of enroll that key, and you can easily log in and then verify that's you. So that's it for the Dual. So we're going to move into GitHub. GitHub is it's open source. Community and source code management tool. So if you go into your settings, you'll be able to see one of the security two-factor authentication setting being security key, and this is where you can manage it. I actually already enrolled the key following all the same steps that we saw earlier. So you see that over here we have a BioPass FIDO NFC registered. And then you can either delete that or register a new one. Lastly, we have Twitter. Twitter, and the reason why we want to include Twitter in this is just because the other day I saw the news that more than 90% of the Twitter users still don't have MFA enabled. So I figure we'll do a little bit of lip service here to ensure we help with a little bit more on the security side with your Twitter accounts. So if you go into your Twitter settings, it's kind of a little hidden, but it's in security. Two-factor authentication. And then this is it. You can enroll security key and manage it here. So I already have two FIDO key enrolled in this, one of them being the K9, which is the same key that I enroll for all the other services that we showcase today. So yeah, so once you kind of do this, it's able to add that extra layer, the security, enterprise grade security to all your IDP and services. So that's kind of conclude my presentation as far as the IDP. Let me stop the sharing. Okay, so yeah, as you can see today, there's the development of FIDO hardware and software has been very modernized and very advanced, and to the point where, and very consistent, right? So there's really no very little resistance for you to start taking the step and pick up a FIDO key and properly protect your cybersecurity as well as your digital life. So with that, I'm gonna turn this back to you, Louis.
All right, great. Thank you, Enrique, for putting that all together. It was a learning even for me to know how it is to easy set up the FEITIAN FIDO security keys with most of the MFA providers and applications that we are currently using in our everyday lives. We really appreciate everyone's attendance today. And like Enrique said, the time is now to get a FIDO key and secure your digital life or business data. The importance of having a second factor authentication is everyone's need now. The value and the peace of mind on having a FIDO key is worth your investment. So with that being said, and to show appreciation for everyone's attendance today, we are offering 20% off of our FIDO keys. Just use the promo code FEITIAN FIDO20 to get your discount when you check out at our online store, shop.fdsafe.us. So pick up something from our website today and have peace of mind. And so we have a few minutes to just check out the questions that some of our viewers put in on the tab. So Enrique, can you see that? So I think we can answer a few of them.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see. I'm opening now. Thank you. So yeah, first question is from Colin. Does the key have to be left in the computer after signing, or can it be removed and allow the user to work? The answer is no. It doesn't need to. It's really just that one-time transaction for you to verify and establish that identity. I would say like the analogy of that would be a little bit similar to how you would like put in your password and then, in the old methodology, right? So once you kind of verify yourself being you, establishing your identity, then, just moving to the productivity. I hope that answered the questions. And the next question is from Orin. Can this be used for a home computer under Windows Hello? So yes and no. So the reason why is that, and again, this is this is just from my own research. So there's actually a lot of built-in fingerprint scanner that you can configure to use Windows Hello with. Really just and to use these FIDO keys, especially the biometrics one, to work with Windows Hello, you would it would require for you to be on the right Windows subscriptions and the licensing, so that it's considered currently framed as more of an enterprise feature, which is the reason why, as I was demonstrating how to configure this earlier, you actually need to kind of go through the MDM, Windows enablement, Azure AD MDM and Intune configuration. But then, this things, the beauty of it is I continue to evolve every day. So I would, and especially consider like last week, Microsoft 2 weeks ago, Microsoft made the announcement of really deprecating password for consumer accounts, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we hear another news from Microsoft saying, hey, now you can use all your FIDO keys for, even for consumer accounts. So for Windows passwordless. Cool. And do we still have time? Oh, we're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time. We actually received more questions, but due to time, we won't be able to answer them live, but we will answer them individually via email. So thank you, everyone. See you on our next technical webinar. Thank you, Enrique.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for everyone for your attendance and questions. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.